we've got the opportunity in an induction model to really, I think, transform how we think about bringing teachers into the profession.
The goal is to create cohorts of more diverse and more qualified teachers.
Give teacher candidates and cooperating teachers a common language for the work that they were going to engage in together.
It all is beginning to intertwine, and it's so beautiful because I think it's just we're all working together instead of separately.
You know, as we prepare teacher candidates, really making sure that they have experiences with diverse populations in a deep way, not just the way that you get through regular classroom experiences, but really getting to know kids at a very personal level and understanding that we're teaching kids, not just content.
And so they're really working together. It's almost more like an internship model.
Instead of working in silos, we're really starting to work together on things. So just aligning some of those things that we've probably all thought about but didn't know how to go about doing because we weren't working together as a team.
Our visitation to Cesar Chavez Elementary in Salem was very powerful and impactful. It allowed us to really see the power of co-teaching, the power of a professional development school in action.
And we are in the process of developing co-teaching workshops to build capacity within our school districts.
I think part of what the co-teaching has done is given everybody the tools to more confidently open up their doors and get inside each other's classrooms.
We really want to get in the community and recruit as many students as possible, getting them thinking about becoming a teacher, particularly in the Portland area. We really need that cultural diversity, linguistic diversity, so students can see themselves reflected in the teaching staff in the schools that they attend.
There's been a real conversation around diversifying our workforce, which ultimately we believe is critical in developing a system that produces equitable outcomes for kids. And that conversation, I think, is more real today across our entire system than it ever has been. I think TeachOregon's been a big part of that.
So for me in our bridge program, something that's a huge component is going to be mentoring. So not only do we have we have teachers mentoring our students, but I want to take it another level so that those students are going back to the high schools and the middle schools and mentoring the younger students who identify themselves as future teachers.
We were able to apply for significant funding, scholarship funding for underrepresented groups coming into the MAT program. And we applied for and won the Laurels grants, which enabled us to award to 8 incoming students from underrepresented populations half tuition, so $10,000 scholarships each. We'd never had that type of funding before, and I'm confident that it was TeachOregon that really allowed us that partnership to succeed.
Well, I think one of the values that has emerged already is the notion of working together and building up those relationships. But with that is breaking down silos.
I honestly think that it's all about putting the information out there. Like, for example, when I sit down with my students, I tell them, I was the first of my family to graduate from high school. I was the first of my family to go to college. And I will be the first one of my family to get a master's degree. There are people who come from the same circumstances, that come from the same background, that have done it.
They've given me the opportunity to be in the classroom, to actually work with the students one-on-one, to see all the different things it takes to build that relationship, to have them build relationships with each other. That's a huge thing.
There's hope for our students who perhaps their first language is not English or come from a background where English is not the dominant language, and knowing that our district thinks it's important enough and feels that it's important enough to provide these students with additional support so they can further their education.
So I think once they see that there is support and that there is a need, and that the profession of teachers want them, there's a place for them, they're going to come.
And when we're looking at the TeachOregon project to recruit students of color to become teachers, and we want them to feel comfortable in terms of the work of this group, fantastic. I have seen the discussions that have come out about identifying bias But having the Teach Oregon bring this out to a broader group, that has been really powerful.
You know, this whole opportunity made me fall in love with teaching and education, period. I know that I'm in it for the right reasons. You know, being with the kids, it's priceless.